Hi, everyone. Welcome back to AI Meets API, the podcast where we decode the intersection of artificial intelligence and enterprise integration. Our guest today is Vara Amandi. Vara is a director of partner product success. Hosting today's episode is Ajay Konda, CGO of ProwessSoft. Over to you, Ajay.
Hey Vara, it's very pleasure to have you.
Yeah, Ajay, always great talking to exciting partners like you guys.
Yeah, thanks. So before we start, how does your career turned up to be in the integration and especially on the MuleSoft in this product partnership roles?
That's a great icebreaker to begin with. I think my entire experience for about 20-25 years now. I've stopped counting the years now because I like to feel young all the day. But when I started off as a Java programmer back at Sun Microsystems back in the days. And then, of course, Oracle took over. So you can think of me as a kid that was born during the times of not so great APIs, but more so the backend struts, EJBs, the Java beans, and the core programming. Python wasn't even a thing back when we first started off. It was all C++ programming and modules. But over the years, as with moving, I think one of the things that I really think about as I look back at my career is count my blessings. Fun fact, I worked over, I think in the last 25 years, I've worked in over 23 different cities across 4 different continents
Wow.
for a number of companies and a number of was blessed to experience quite a number of cultures as well, and it opened up my mind and the approach. And of course here the last 6 years at MuleSoft have been phenomenal, working with fantastic partners like you guys. I was primarily the product, but then moved into management consulting, which made me travel quite a lot, and then moved into the solution sales,
Mm-hmm.
then now on the partner ecosystem there. So it's a mix of everything, but I think I've kind of closed the gaps in my entire career. Like I was able to see all phases of product development from vision or inception to production.
That's great. That's a quite different roles you have done. So how do you see the integration evolved over the time and where do you see it's going towards?
Fabulous question. I think integration, I think first things first, I really love this question because it gets to the heart of why this field is very, very exciting right now. And for starters, I would say the future of integration is that you won't see it at all. It'll become like electricity, like a silent ambient utility that just powers everything. So instead of manually building every connection here, you'll just simply declare an outcome. Like let's say, I need customer lifetime value from these 5 systems to appear in a dashboard. And an AI powered fabric will autonomously discover those right APIs, compose that whole data flow, and deliver that result really securely there. So it's like a science fiction there, but I think the role of integration expert really was from that hands-on builder to a digital city planner, I would say, where you would have to assemble your own automated workflows using the palette of a little pre-approved, like we all at MuleSoft like to call the Lego blocks or the APIs that'll be there. So integration has evolved up until a point. I think with the advent of AI, it took a rocket ship with AI behind the seat. And I think this is a very, very interesting times that we are really living in. Of course, teams have to be future ready. Organizations have to compose their next big ideas, but integration is something that will take them there.
Okay, yep. You actually gave a very good overview into where I'm planning to go. This is where everybody is focused, and even our podcast is AI and API. How exactly they adopt these organizations who are already on the integration journey, right? They might have adopted some tools and already implemented a lot of processes, APIs. How do they adopt this vision? Where do they start?
Yeah. So first things first, I think we always, and I've been in sales for quite a while, so I think, and I've seen it, and you probably have seen it multiple times in your career as well. The biggest challenge isn't the technology; it's actually the gravitation, organizational gravity, I would say, which means it's the powerful pull of old habits, your siloed data, and more importantly, the fear of the unknowns. And companies really get stuck in that phase because they're either trying to boil the entire ocean instead of just making a great cup of tea first. So my advice is pretty simple. I think it's a three-step process. First, find the friction. Don't start with do we need integration or do we need AI. Instead, ask where does our business hurt the most if I don't do this? What's the cost of not doing a particular integration or a particular AI-powered experience? Find that most tedious, most soul-crushing manual process and make that first target, and then build one, as they like to say, build one good bridge. So don't try to modernize your entire legacy fortress at once. Unlock that one critical piece of data with one well-designed reusable API. And that, of course, the first bridge is always the hardest to build, but it's the one everyone will start using to cross into the future there. And third, I think most importantly, evangelizing the wins and partners. I kind of tell this to every partner that I speak to: evangelize your wins. Your first successful integration or automation experience is the most powerful marketing tool. It builds the momentum, and that really gets you to escape that pull of all that old gravity that I was just referring to. So I think it's a three-step process, but I think it all starts off with asking the right questions.
Definitely, that makes sense. What is something, some messaging or something that is resonating? Because you have seen a lot of partners like us pitching a lot of things with the customers and also to the MuleSoft. What is something that is resonating very well, or where you see the lot of traction coming from?
So I think again there are two aspects here. One, of course, is the integration, which is the story today, and of course AI, the ultimate force multiplier. I think first and foremost, that integration has really moved from that boiler room to the boardroom. It's no longer just the plumbing; it's the blueprint for a composable enterprise agentic AI. So it's no longer just connecting this app to that app, or you're just giving this connection to another department so that they can actually use one API at a time. It's more about that ultimate force multiplier. Think about integration becoming that co-pilot that automates quite a lot of your tedious data mapping for your developers, for your operations. Think about integration providing that vigilant watchdog kind of capabilities that will instantly spots that security and performance anomalies. And more importantly, integration and AI really handling that whole noise. So every single customer out there can actually focus on that signal there. So I think that is something that I've continuously seen and continuously to experience with every single conversation with every large company out there.
Okay, sounds good. The one thing I'm hearing recently about is this agent fabric, or I have seen some of the webinars from the MuleSoft. Can you talk more about that, and how is it different from the other agentic products there in the market?
Awesome. While we haven't GA'd yet, and I don't want to spill our surprise at Dreamforce,
Okay.
because a lot of these are definitely going to come in. Of course, we will have parts and pieces of that agent fabric getting GA'd at the end of this month or just before Dreamforce. In fact, I am actually giving a talk on that agent fabric in our partner launch. So again, feel free to come by and watch that demo and that narrative. But I'll tell you a very little bit of the Mule agentic fabric. I think we have moved from the old API-led connectivity where an app where the consumers of a particular integration is just an API, is just an application behind the scenes. But now with the advancements of AI, we are now seeing that the consumers of these integrations are not APIs or just another applications. It's actually agents, and agents are the new consumers. So any new consumer has a new language, new way of interpretation, new way of actually interaction with the different workflows that you have there. And what that really means is the same old story. One size doesn't fit all. Your APIs and integrations have to be adhered to a common standard, to a common protocol, or even a common architecture style that will give you that incredible capability of integration, scalability, and of course observability, and so on and so forth. So that agent fabric, think of agent fabric as like your advanced software architecture that allows multiple independent AI agents to communicate, to collaborate, and of course to coordinate their actions to solve those complex problems that are beyond the capability of a single agent. I'll give you a simple example. Think about the individual neurons that are all working together. That's powering our hand movements, our leg movements, or even our facial expressions there. just like these individuals work, they actually work together. And that agent fabric is the underlying infrastructure for all those different movements. Of course, each with its own specialized skill to connect and operate as a unified intelligent whole there. So think of that as not just a single boss agent, but multiple agents operating as peers, discovering each other, collaborating on different tasks dynamically. And that really makes that system really adaptable, really intelligent, and more importantly, scalable. So and just to give you another example, this is something that I've been doing. The past week has been so chaos with so much travel planning and all that stuff. I was supposed to go on an international trip, and apparently thinking about, hey, as we all do, comparing Google flights with kayaks and all of that. And then I felt like, okay, let me go on to Replit, which is a code engine, vibe coding. Let me actually create a travel planning agent, which requests my prompt. It says like plan a 7-day trip to India in November, maybe South India even more, maybe even more context on maybe $1,000 budget, so on and so forth. Now, if I just think about that travel planning agent, it actually does not just do one single thing. It actually does a multiple sets of things. One, it helps me coordinate with a flight search agent that gets my most effective flights. It actually also works with a hotel booking agent that looks for accommodations that matches my preferences and my budget. Maybe a restaurant recommendation agent that finds all those top rated dining options in that area. And more importantly, an activity agent, because once I'm going there, I'm probably going to look for some sightseeing opportunities or some tours and so on and so forth there. So just a single travel planning agent has recruits multiple other agents under the fabric, and that fabric is the one that allows all these agents to share information like my flight dates that influence my hotel bookings, and maybe even weather recommendations to get to my sightseeing opportunities and so on and so forth. Right? So all these agents need to be in a coordinated and orchestrated fashion, and Agent Fabric does all of that.
That's very interesting. Sounds like how we do the API or integration orchestration. You are going towards more like AI agent orchestration.
Yeah, every API just becomes an intelligent agent if you were to oversimplify that. So that's why APIs become that strong foundation. Having that integration layer becomes table stakes for you to actually build that agentic enterprise AI.
That's great. One thing, your role maybe as products always need a lot of feedback and things, and you interact with the partners like us. We provide a lot of feedback to you the things. How does this feedback loop works, especially product is evolving so fast? Is there anything that you guys do differently?
Yes, I think as with AI, our strategies and our activities are also kind of aligning to how the market is reacting. As you all know, market can react positively or negatively based on our product offerings and based on certain criteria that they fit in. Funny that you bring this up because just this morning, I think, don't remember the survey, but of course, IDC and Forrester ranked us a little lower this year, but then here's a survey that came out this morning. I think the survey is from the UK agency, and they actually got us way up above everyone else because their way of thinking and seeing us in a category, they think that we are a category defining company, and they rated us to the max there. So we are kind of refining our offerings. Of course, we do have the partner advisory board. These are members from our elite partners who help us get feedback from our customers, our prospects, our mutual customers and prospects, and of course also bring the thought leadership on how they think that this product will really enhance the experience for our end customers there. So we're doing that. I think we meet 4 times a year. In fact, I think our next PAB meeting, we're planning to do that in Europe. So we haven't done that yet, but I think that's something I'm really looking forward to. So we also have new recruitments coming in. So I'm sure you're going to throw your nomination as well when the nominations open up for the partner advisory board. We've also started out working on a similar kind of a narrative, especially very, very centric on the product. And this is called Product Council, Advisory Council. We haven't fixed out on the name yet, but think of it as a mechanism to establish that regular engagement plan between MuleSoft product teams and MuleSoft partners partners and experts, and basically define how our stakeholders are going to benefit from the things. Be the first to experience the product hands-on. We used to do that years ago, where we used to fly all the partners into a San Francisco conference room, make them sit there, get to experience that product, give brutal, honest feedback, then iterate and then deliver before GA and so on and so forth. Of course, we don't have the luxury to do that now. We're kind of using the virtual mechanisms now to recruit new partners on the product advisory council, and also offer opportunities for our partners, because you guys being the launch partners, or you guys being the first to actually experience that, you will be our mobilizers, and we'll be able to get you guys in on this that we tag along for our customers as well. So some exciting stuff that is coming out this year. So stay tuned for that product advisory council and the partner advisory board nominations that are going to open up. I think we're going to open it up in December.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. Exciting. Yeah. One other aspect of this whole product evaluation is one for the organizations where you spoke about. Other side is the API professionals or the experts, right? How is these product evaluation is helping the API professionals to fast track their deliveries?
Awesome. In fact, I'm a direct beneficiary of some of these offerings, I would say.
Okay.
Because I think I kind of continue to see, and sometimes I get backlash as well, because my Mac stops responding, because I'm probably running a Llama model, a $20 billion billion parameter model on my machine, and the machine just stops. But I think for API professionals, I think AI is the ultimate force multiplier. I keep repeating it because I can't stress the value that it brings in. Just for developers, it becomes, I wouldn't say it's a co-pilot, it's almost like an autopilot, I would say. It really automates quite a lot of data mapping, quite a lot of discovery. You name it, AI can do it. But that doesn't mean that it'll replace human creativity and the imagination. I think it'll definitely help you to take it to the next level. I think that's how you should be viewing it. It's not a replacement for human intelligence. It's more a productivity tool. Just like how, if you want to unscrew a particular bolt, you do it much faster with a tool rather than actually doing a hand, using your
Yeah,
hand to
that's
actually
true.
undo that. So AI should always be looked at that way. Like I said, the travel planning agent. Yes, I spent $25 on building a Replit agent, but I was able to do that within a day. So if you just think about, if I were to do it manually, defining the API specs, deciding where to actually deploy, and whether to actually even build those unit tests, I think that is where. And funnily that you actually asked this, at Dreamforce, we're gonna announce quite a lot of new agents, MuleSoft agents. That will, I'm sure it has actually surprised me that many agents are coming to Dreamforce, to just MuleSoft platform.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I think we'll just have to wait and watch. I think we've got at least 9 or 10 different agents that are coming in at Dreamforce. They're all getting onto the MuleSoft platform. It's just quite incredible. And some of these are really, really, I think I would say these are really powerful tools, particularly because they solve a very strong problem. Think about an agent like your diagnostic agent. When you deploy something in your runtime manager, oftentimes it could be a very simple thing that maybe the API discovery key wasn't added with the right permissions, the client ID and client secret. And then you'd of course have to go through all the logs before you realize, okay, the API was blocked because you didn't provide the client ID and client secret, kind of a thing. So think about how a diagnostics agent, which is like a self-serve solution to that common problem, that can really enhance your productivity. Or think about the MUnit tests with natural language, where you actually put in a prompt and build all your MUnit tests for all your Mule apps. And not to touch upon the universal connectivity, we're just going to get that launched very, very soon, where with respect to a natural language, you can actually build connector for any point and flow as well. So lots and lots of exciting things that are going to come in. But I think the ground reality is still the same. While AI is very good at generating content and generating quite a bit, if you use it too much, I think our own SE team, I was having another conversation. I do mentor quite a lot of these SEs, and oftentimes I get to hear, hey, I'm using this, and I spent 4 hours just to debug what was happening. And if I were to actually write it myself, I would have done that within an hour or so, right? So
Mm-hmm.
don't lose the creativity. Don't think that AI is going to solve all of your problems. Instead, use AI where it is necessary, and
Mm-hmm.
then you will find the real value out of it.
Okay. Yep. This triggers a different query for me. Is that kind of solution like one of the example you give a solution? These are there are outside tools, right? Salt security, no name security. All of these are like add-on tools customers are buying right now to solve some of these challenges. Are you saying that now the product itself is coming up with these agents, so you don't need to rely on the external tools for these type of solutions?
I wouldn't say you cannot rely on certain third-party solutions. You can absolutely do it, and with no name and so every tool is very unique in its purpose essentially. So if you think the likes of just the given that you quoted Salt and No Name, they are primarily the leaders in API security. And I think now we even have another company, Netscape and Netscope and Traceable.
Traceable.
Traceable bought by Harness,
Harness.
which is also kind of coming very hot on the market. And they hired a lot of muleys as well. So you get to see and hear from what's happening on the market. So Mule is not definitely going to be that one single tool. While it does quite a lot, I think it wouldn't just be one single tool to consolidate every single application purpose into one. So an example could be observability. Would observability, like your end-to-end traceability, because observability is all about metrics, your SLAs, uptimes, and of course your alerts essentially there. Would MuleSoft have certain of those capabilities? Yes, they would. But would that be the only ultimate thing that every enterprise needs? Absolutely no, because all companies, as we know, just like the AI, even though we have quite a lot of our AI offerings, like let's say classical example of the Anypoint Code Builder. We have launched AI capabilities onto the ACB where we said, hey, here's how you can use a prompt, and here's your API integration that comes with the Einstein AI that you use. Does it mean we just say, hey, this is the ultimate one? Absolutely not. In fact, that's one reason why we rolled out the cursor, the AI IDE, ACB in any IDE, in any AI IDE. So customers are still using cursor, and they probably are even using without ACB as well. So we would never actually be able to say, hey, here's one tool that you can actually use for all your purposes. And that is simply not possible because customers have already made their investments. I think one thing we should always do is protect their investments and make sure that they're getting more from their investments, essentially. It's a story that Mule has always been telling. We begin where the customer is always at and not always say rip and replace or move automatically at once. So it's more about ensuring one, you're protecting your existing investments, ensuring that you're maximizing or making that other application more valuable in the org, and more importantly, how all this narrative gets into a future-proof kind of an environment, how it is all setting you out for a future-proof concept, essentially. So that's how it's gonna be. So we are not gonna incorporate the whole and soul of all of No Name or Salt Security or something like that. It'll still be a coexist play rather than a rip and replace, but there could be certain self-sufficient capabilities that, let's say, if everyone is on Cloud Hub, if every single application, and of course 100% cloud is always a myth, even though we all say, hey, cloud is the way to go forward. If all you have is just on Cloud Hub, you probably don't need a Datadog or an observability solution like even Grafana for that matter. But is that the case in reality all the
No.
time? Absolutely not.
Hmm.
And you have a lot of open source software that people are willing to try. And same thing happens with LLMs too. Every company, including Microsoft, actually in their AI Foundry, the reason why Microsoft's AI Foundry is so popular is because you can host any models from your Anthropic to their own investment in Azure OpenAI, right? So it's going to be that vendor neutral, but interoperable and making everyone more valuable in the ecosystem.
Definitely, it makes sense. Lot of things we discussed, Vara. Are there before we end? Are there anything I'm missing? wish I could have asked is with respect to the future of integration or towards the partner solutions?
Yeah, I think I'll give you two examples. Once on the partner solutions. I think where I see other partners and where I see, and as you know, my role with partner centric capabilities and responsibilities. I think we love our partners, and MuleSoft has always been very, very partner centric. In fact, we continue to have a very high partner attach rate with all of our deals, and that's simply possible because of the love that you guys show. So partners like you guys are really powering this whole ecosystem with Mule. One thing that I constantly talk and advise partners like you guys is, and I know you're doing it, but you guys need to do it more, is market those win stories. I think telling those powerful stories of how your successful projects customer outcomes, I think that really builds momentum for everyone to be excited. While it is very easy to be skeptical about one partner versus another partner, I think the truth is every partner brings in a very unique perspective, and it can only be told with that win stories there. So I would urge you to continue to invest in the win stories, number one. And of course, try to be on board with the partner advisory council or the partner advisory board. That gives you another first front row seat to all the innovation that we're doing. And more importantly, I think build solutions, which is a natural organic product of every project that you do, and it also enhances your margin, because once you build a product, a particular project, you naturally own the IP. I think always look out for that reusable aspect in the projects that you've done, and then package that as a solution, and then bring out that packaged, because everyone out there, every single customer, they are kind of bought into this predictable cost model. So no more days of we'll bill by the hour, or we'll probably have this continuously built and all that stuff. So customers love those fixed package offerings, and it's very easy for you guys to do that because you've done that at so many places there. The biggest advice I would give from a sales perspective is package your deals into a fixed kind of price or fixed cost perspective and bring it on. The last I would say is AI is kind of changing at an incredible pace, and MuleSoft is pretty vendor neutral and always in for interoperable place. And I think, like I said, integration is something going to be very, very invisible. While the question still lingers, hey, do we really need integration layer? I think the answer is yes, you need it. Yes, you probably won't see it. I think also make sure that your team members are very enhanced with that particular aspect of, hey, integration is going to be ground stakes, and use more AI tools to make sure that the experience becomes really fast. So the plumbing is flawless. There's that beautiful reusable bricks of integration, and that really means that everyone can safely build more and build effectively as well.
Yep, sounds great, Vara. I have really good insights from this, especially win stories, promotion, and packaging the offerings, and understanding how to work with the MuleSoft more effectively. Thank you so much for your time, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Always great talking to you, Ajay, and I look forward to seeing you at Dreamforce.
Yeah, same here.
That's all for this episode of AI Meets API. Thanks for tuning in and being part of the conversation. Be sure to follow so you don't miss future episodes. Until next time, stay curious and stay connected.